was saying you don't ever want to push your AI content to 100% to look super real. It should always be about 90%.
You coached me into saying, argue with AI till you're satisfied.
Yeah.
No matter how long it takes.
Yeah.
And that will create the most authentic result.
Sometimes it'll take 15 or 20 minutes to
argue.
Welcome to Sandbox After Dark.
While the industry sleeps, we build.
Sandbox After Dark podcast.
After Dark.
We are live. Brian, thanks for joining us for the Sandbox After Dark, where we're getting into kind of a brainstorm or a deep dive of what we're going to be talking about in the actual Sandbox Live. But this is kind of the behind the scenes where we really get to put our minds together. Mine from the financial side, yours from the kind of Hollywood production studio marketing side. But it's not fair to just say marketing side, because very few marketers have the experience that you do on the actual Hollywood production side. If you've never been on a production stage or filming stage, marketers don't truly understand. They understand marketing. I'm not taking away from them, but they don't understand the production where you can combine your best skills as a like Russell Brunson student to production.
The topic that we're talking about today is going to be storytelling, and I'm seeing this as a trend. I'm seeing this all over YouTube and various marketers talking about the need to tell stories and to frame your business or whatever it is that you're selling, the service that you have, as a story that your viewer relates to. You need to tap into your viewers' issues. And we're going to talk about the why of not just selling your product, but why are you selling the product? How did you develop the product? What's your motivation for putting this out there? Why do you want to help the people that you serve? But storytelling is a big part of that, especially as more and more content is going to be coming online and all the streaming services. People have so many options to view stuff. What are you going to do to get their attention?
So here's my question. Just one step back from what you're talking about is what, we use predominantly, I would say 75% of what we produce is AI driven. Of course, the more real content, the real B-roll that we can include is better. But that being the case, how do you authentically create vulnerability with AI?
That's interesting because I'll show you this video later, but I just saw a YouTube creator, and he said something interesting that I think I think it's really relevant, and I think people will catch on to it. He was saying, you don't ever want to push your AI content to 100% to look super real. It should always be about 90%, because we're not trying to pull the wool over anyone's eyes.
We don't want to make people feel like they're deceived.
Yeah, and as AI progresses, the whole deep fake issue is going to, I think, get more and more relevant, and people will start catching on to the fact that AI exists, and then they'll be questioning themselves: is this AI or not?
So what do you think about all the college graduations that are booing professors talking about AI and the future of AI?
I haven't seen that.
Okay, so there has been a rash of professors at college graduations, that make mention of the future of AI and the opportunities it creates, and they get booed by the actual graduates.
Are the graduates for AI or against AI?
Against AI. They're booing.
Oh, interesting.
And so it is interesting. So you were talking about not going to 100%, doing 90%, because there is this concern that people have about people trying to use AI to deceive people.
Yeah, well, and there's already a term floating around called AI slop. And because it's so easy, I mean, everyone has seen the AI videos of the Sasquatch walking, taking selfie videos and doing a vlog. Because that's so easy to turn out. I could make one of those videos in about 20 minutes.
Okay. So have you seen the regardless of politics, have you seen the Pratt campaign videos?
Yes.
So
and those are all fan made.
I know.
He's not even making
I
those.
know. So in regards to the
Talk about a grassroots movement.
Yeah. In regards to the 90%, like not trying to deceive people, how has Pratt used that and leveraged it to his advantage?
It's clearly AI. And because some of the have you seen the Star Wars one?
Yeah.
So
if you haven't, you got to look it up. Star Wars Pratt. It's entertaining at the very least, whether you agree with the politics or not.
So I think people obviously know that it's not real, but at that point, it's like a cartoon. It's like, Daffy Duck's not real.
Yeah.
So, but you still engage with those characters. So and that's what we'll talk about today. It's the story, it's the message behind all of that.
So what's the message behind Pratt that people are trying to tell? What is he trying to tell? And what are this is a whole nother topic. He somehow, I haven't seen a direct invitation, but he somehow evoked hundreds, thousands of people to create AI content on his behalf for free.
That just shows
to tell his story.
His message is resonating. So his message is out there. And so that the AI content is just a furthering of his message. So the message is still there, and it's told in a fun, entertaining way that you engage with, that people will watch and they'll share it. And that's why it's picking up steam, because people are sharing this all over the country, and he's running for LA mayor.
But why are people sharing it? Can you go back to the storytelling vulnerability of why is Pratt attracting and pulling in and motivating and inspiring all these independent creators who are helping him?
That's a good question. I think it's just because his message kind of resonates.
Okay. I agree. He's not trying to be a politician.
And he's told an interesting story.
Yes.
And what we'll talk about in here, he's vulnerable, and he said he shows the Airstream trailer that he's parked on his property in the Pacific Palisades. He says, "This is where I live now." And
people have given him a bunch of shit for that, because it's staged. But you know what? Who cares? He did park the Airstream, but they wouldn't let him hook up to any utilities because the permit.
I think that was part of his message too. Like, how absurd is this? I can't even live on my own property.
Like, I pulled an Airstream trailer and I can't plug it in. I can't plug into sewer. I can't plug into water.
Yeah,
so this isn't even livable, even if I park an Airstream on the property I own.
And not to get into politics, but if you were the mayor of Los Angeles and you said, which she said, I make a commitment to get this thing moving as fast as possible, wouldn't you just like wipe away all the restrictions of hooking up a trailer to the sewer system?
You'd think.
Temporarily, while people are getting their building permit and doing that stuff, so they have a place to live, so they're not living in a motel or with relatives.
That's a great point. I have not thought about that.
And I think people see through that. They see like, well, that's just stupid.
God, that's such a great point. Like, I've always thought like, yeah, but if they do that, it's opening up all of this risk to health, public health, and everything else. But no, but what you said, the nuance, I think is super important. And that is just temporarily.
Well, and even to push back on the argument that, there's some, environmental concerns. There are a lot bigger concerns they have in LA that beyond that, just the health and environment, just clean up the streets. Just get all the trash and the
That-
shit off the
that
sidewalks.
is true. And we live in Southern California. We've been to LA. Like, I'm trying not to divulge too much truth, but I went with my family. One of my family members literally slipped on what they thought was mud on the sidewalk.
Ew.
And it was not mud on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
It was human feces on the
Yeah.
sidewalk.
I think we all got that.
Yeah. And it's like, it's so ridiculous. You're worried about people.
It's disgusting.
You're worried about people's health hazards for their own property. What happened to freedom in America? Where, hey, as long as the homeowner understand the risks, can't you just let them choose and decide what, as long as their risk does not create risk for other people, can't we just let them do what they want to do, understanding the risk? Like, can't we let them just, if they want to hook up, they want to live on the property and they understand the
you
risk?
Put conditions on it. And I mean, I'm not a politician. I don't know. We're a little off topic, but
No, but
it's
this is
I
the
get it.
after
Yeah, I
dark.
know.
This is the chance for us to talk about things that matter. And I happen to be a libertarian, and I don't like anybody telling me what to do.
agreed. I mean,
So
and it just shows you where all the heavy regulations have gotten us.
Yeah.
When there's too much government control and too much overreach, all these ideals that people have that they think they're doing good actually just do more harm than because you're just putting regulations on top of regulations, and then they all just start interfering with each other,
and it starts taking away freedom.
At some point, someone has to be brave enough to just burn it all down to the ground and rebuild it, because obviously what we got now isn't working.
So now I'm going to circle back and try and bring this back around, because you said we got off topic, right? The topic we started with was vulnerability and authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
After dark is our vulnerability and authenticity. It's our ability.
We're just freestyling.
Well, and we're just, whether you agree with our point of view or not, who cares? The after dark is where we get a chance to share what we think and we feel. And if you agree with us, great. If not, who cares? But that's the beauty of having the after dark versus our Sandbox Live, is that we can really talk about authentic, vulnerable issues in how they apply to marketing, and then how that marketing applies to financial advisors, because that's important. We are at a crisis in the financial industry.
How so?
That the financial industry is becoming a commodity. Just look at like Ethos or some of the other commercials. It's like all the people who used to sell term life insurance are now totally non-valuable.
Yeah,
because
you can do it online in 10 minutes.
In 10 minutes. And that we see 20 different companies doing commercials for that. That's going to continue to higher levels. Like, for instance, Robinhood. How much did Robinhood take business away from money managers?
Oh, a ton. And the same thing is going to happen with contract law.
Yeah.
A lot of law firms or law services, I think, will just disappear.
Interesting. I didn't even think about that.
I've written contracts with AI that I've actually sent to a lawyer, and he goes, "Yeah, that's good."
That's super fascinating.
Yeah,
because I'm starting to connect the dots, but like an AI can search the entire law book of an entire state, which we're talking about 400 books full, right?
Yeah. And current law.
The most up to date.
Yeah, the most up to date.
Not when you got your law license.
Yeah.
Or what you can remember.
Right.
It will search every single line of code in that state. Wow. That's going to be super fascinating to see what that's going to do. Is that going to enhance a lawyer's ability, or is it going to diminish their value?
It's going to help companies like LegalZoom, because if all they have to do is inject AI into their platform, and now they can spit out a contract. That's probably already what they do, but they can spit out a contract that will hold up.
So let's bring it back around. How can AI propel the financial, not the financial, because you're talking about legal industry. How can the industry of law and attorneys leverage AI in their favor to avoid them becoming less and less valuable and make them leverage it to make them more and more valuable?
Well, I don't know, but I did just think about it. I just saw an ad pop up that was for financial advisors. And it was kind of like what we had talked about, how we use Notebook LM just to create little quick documents or explainers. And it's a platform where they're selling financial advisors that you can do that and have the answers right there for your client while you're sitting in front of them. And and AI already does that. But it's cool that they're building a tool, because there's 93% of people don't know or use or understand how to use AI. So there's going to be a window of time where these tools are going to come out that are just going to propel the use of AI, and then people will realize, well, I can just do this on Claude or ChatGPT. I don't need this tool. So those companies will be out, and then new companies will come in. It's evolving faster than anything I've ever seen.
So
this is 1995 all over again, when the internet came out, and everyone thought, well, who's going to need to use the internet?
Or rewind it even further to the algebraic calculator.
Oh yeah.
And how the whole education system fought that for like 5 to 10 years. But now it's just like, you're required to have a algebraic calculator to join this class. It's required. So I think you cannot push back on innovation. And I think from what you're saying about like analogies of the legal system, bringing it over to the financial system, same thing is happening. You're either going to use AI to leverage your ability, or you're going to if you don't do that, AI can surpass you, or the people using AI can surpass you and make you irrelevant. And I think for every financial advisor, especially if you've been in this industry for 20 plus years, you need to be thinking about, how do I remain relevant to the end of my career?
Well, AI is just it's a tool. It's a hammer. And you need to know how to use that tool and to your advantage. I mean, it takes innovation. It takes, thinking about it a little bit. And I'm using it every day, and I'm still coming up with new ways and thinking about how to leverage it on my behalf.
Okay, so let's get into that. How does somebody, because today's sandbox for tomorrow is really going to be about, how do you be vulnerable and tell your story? How can you leverage AI? Because your personal input and story in a prompt can then elevate and be enhanced by AI, one versus the other versus both. Both can, if somebody knows how to do it right, can tell their story and be vulnerable in a way that people can connect with. How do you do that with AI?
Well, first, understanding the tool, using it a lot. And over time, because it is a learning model, it's a large language learning model, it will start to learn. Well, you've experienced this with your ChatGPT. It starts to talk like you. It starts to write emails in your voice, and it remembers things about conversations you've had from weeks ago.
So don't lose your train of thought, but I do want to just put in a quick clarification. If you do have your favorite AI tool, whether it's ChatGPT or Claude or whatever else, I would encourage you, please sign up for the premium account or at least the lowest level paid account.
Yeah, a paid account's $20 a month.
Because you can personalize the instructions, make it into your voice, and you can start capturing the learning model that starts to learn everything that you've ever talked to.
I forgot that a few months ago, I just took screenshots of my test results on some blood work, and I uploaded it to ChatGPT, and I said, tell me what this means. And it gave me a full essay on all of my blood results. A few months later, I was just chatting with ChatGPT, asking another question, and it goes, well, since that blood work, it shows X, Y, and Z. And I would go, what?
Where did that come from?
I didn't know that. I forgot that I uploaded that. And then I looked, and sure enough, it was recalling these test results I had. And then I was able to continue and have a new conversation because it already knew the blood results. And then I took my new blood results and I updated them. And I said, now here's my new ones. Tell me what you think. And it said, oh, you're doing better in this and this. And that is powerful. That is coming. That's our new normal.
I had a similar
love it or hate it.
Yes. I had a similar circumstance where I had done ChatGPT for a year, saved every query for every business transaction we were doing, research for our clients, content for our clients. And I was going to do a broadcast. And so I grabbed my wife's ChatGPT and then grabbed her phone, put it against my phone with my ChatGPT
Oh, I've seen
for a
that.
year.
People have done that, and they have a conversation.
And I let the ChatGPTs converse with each other. And I started the prompt with, ask which is the best financial advisor for this situation. And my ChatGPT, based on all the work I've done for all of our financial advisors, actually selected for me the advisor that they recommended.
Wow.
And they were right. That would be the one I would recommend.
Yeah.
It was absolutely correct. That is exactly who I'd recommend it and why. And those pro accounts do allow you to recall information. Why? So you can focus on the more vulnerable storytelling information. So many people with AI just want to say, tell me the internet's opinion about this. Tell me the summary and conclusion about this.
They're using it like search.
Right.
And I do that too.
Of course, we all do. But for today's episode, how do we make sure that we are prompting for vulnerability and personal storytelling?
It's just telling your story. I mean,
but how?
Just dictating all of your thoughts and opinions and ideas into it. Like I'll have brainstorming sessions with it where I'll talk to it for like 20 minutes and I'll just spew out my ideas and my whatever I'm thinking, whatever concept I've come up with. And I have this back and forth, and it will push back on me. And so, well, have you thought about this? Or that's a great idea. And it writes it all out for me. And then when I see it and I read it back in, a proper format, it gives me new ideas. And then I continue the conversation and I keep going deeper. And it's all those conversations that the memory, it will hold on to those.
So what's the value?
Or you can just say, hey, now take all of this entire chat, this concept, and write it into an essay for me, or write a white paper, or
a summary.
Write some sort of research document. I don't ever like using the word summary because sometimes it'll leave holes. It won't get all the nuance.
No.
So I'll say, like you said, how do you prompt it? I say, give me a nuanced and detailed dossier on, I use the word dossier or essay. I don't ever say summarize because it'll squeeze it down into too short. I want detail. I want super long detail.
Super interesting.
And so I'll say, give me a detailed dossier on everything that we just talked about.
So
and don't leave anything out.
So those of you who are listening, and I'm learning this for the very first time, because I've been using the word summary. And what Brian is saying is the words you choose to use in your prompt can affect authenticity,
because
storytelling,
remember,
nuance.
the AI is only, well, we've said this many times, it's only going to give you what you put into it.
No.
So it won't know that you are meaning a detailed novel if you
Right.
say summary.
But what I'm learning today, and I want the listeners to hear, is that what certain words produce results from AI that maintain or create and protect the authenticity, the vulnerability, the details of the story. And what Brian's telling you is there are certain words that will help you get a more effective result than using like the word summary, which is what I've been using.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people too will just accept the very first output. Don't ever accept the first output.
Yeah.
And it requires just being a little bit intelligent and a little bit observant and reading the output. And if you're not satisfied with it, just say, I'm not satisfied with this.
And why?
Do a better job and tell it why. Say it's too short. You left out this, you left out that. I've even done, because it requires paying attention to the output. A good example is I do stock trading and I use AI to do my research.
Right.
But it's only reading from, there's a 15-minute delay at minimum. And sometimes it's pulling data from yesterday. So it'll say the stock price is this and it did this. I go, no, it's actually not. And now it's this. And they go, oh, good. And then it responds back, oh, sorry, that's a really good catch. Yeah, let me pull more recent data.
So,
and then it comes back and it goes, yeah, you're right. Because sometimes it's pulling data from not the most current.
But sometimes it's also doing vanity. Oh, you're right. That's a great idea.
You can prompt it to that. You can say, don't be
agreeable.
Don't be agreeable. I want you to push back. I want you to be play devil's advocate.
Well, you've always said,
if it's not a good idea, or you can say, give me pros and cons. You can say, tell me why this isn't a good idea.
You coached me into saying, argue with AI till you're satisfied.
Yeah.
No matter how long it takes.
Yeah.
And that will create the most authentic result.
15 or 20 minutes to
argue, challenge everything you get from AI until you get what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And I think that's great advice, because we all have what makes AI and humans different. And I don't think AI will ever be able to catch up to the human experience. Every human is uniquely different because of how many ever years you've lived and all the experiences.
And that means the output will be different for everyone too.
Correct. So it's super important that you argue until you're satisfied with the result from your life lived experience.
Yeah.
Until you're satisfied. Argue until you're satisfied.
So here's a good prompt that fits right in with what we are talking about with storytelling, and we should define what storytelling is, but we'll do that in a minute. Prompt it to say, you are an investigative journalist writing an article about me. Ask me every question that you would need to know to get my complete story about XYZ, about why I got into the financial business.
Pause. So what Brian is saying, which I'm hearing for the first, well, I've heard it before, but it's hitting me for the first time. You have to tell the AI what role you want the AI to play.
That's number one. Yes.
And then that will be more authentic to whatever it is, the content they're creating for you that's authentic or storytelling.
Right. Like if you wanted it to build you a website, you would first have to tell it, you are a world-class website designer and the most brilliant web coder in the world. Tell me what you need from me to help you build the best website possible. And now it knows, okay, I'm building a website, and it's going to think like a website builder versus a book editor. If you were writing a book,
or just a researcher,
yeah,
like ChatGPT is just a researcher.
Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah. And it doesn't know what to do with the data that it pulls back until you tell it. So you say, I'm writing a book. I want you to be the best book editor, and here's my manuscript. tell me what's wrong with it.
So you're telling AI the intent that you want the AI to have, and the motives, the background, and then debate with it until you get the result you're satisfied with.
Yeah, and you don't even have to jump into prompting it right away with the actual data.
Right.
Like I just built the website I just built for the new documentary that we're building, which will come out soon.
And how long did that take you to build the
But
whole sales squeeze page?
It took me about 20 minutes just getting the AI
Oh,
ready to build it.
Only 20
Yeah.
minutes.
But first I had to say, okay, this is what I'm building. This is what I want it to look like. Here's the colors I want. And then I said, before you build anything, tell me what else you need, or tell me the plan that you're going to implement before you build it. So it wrote out a whole summary of, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this, this, this. And then it gave me more ideas. Like, okay, those are good, but don't do this one, but add this one. Now tell me what you think. And then it built the whole thing first, just as a text document before it built the website. And then when I said, okay, now that looks good, go build it.
So
and it literally built the whole thing in one shot.
This is what I'm most.
But it took 20 or 30 minutes prepping it.
Okay, but that's the takeaway. 20 to 30 minutes building it, and I think that's what creates the authenticity. Everybody can say, "Oh, write me an essay," college students, write me an essay about World War II and summarize the essay.
Yeah.
But it's all going to sound the same. But what you're talking about is spending 20 minutes really authenticating your opinion, your backstory, your preferences, your influences. You're debating back and forth. And you mentioned, at least I picked up, you don't have to be right the first prompt.
No.
Because you can debate, and then it produces a result, and then share your feelings. Share your most core intuitive, not sure I agree with that, or I think that this maybe should be more this way. And if you don't debate back and forth until you're satisfied, it's not going to be authentic to your perspective, right?
Right.
And so I think that's truly the takeaway from today, is if you want to tell your story without turning on a camera and telling your story.
Yeah.
And you want to incorporate AI to help you with that process, we're encouraging you to use AI the right way. And the right way to use AI is everything Brian's described today, with making sure that you share everything you think, feel, and want. Give AI their role on the specific type. Like if you wanted a documentary script, you'd go to a Hollywood writer. So you can say, I want you to be a Hollywood writer, and I want you to write the following story. So tell AI the role you want it to be. Share as much of your story as you possibly can with vulnerable details, and then debate with it until you're satisfied. Would you say those are the three elements that would
absolutely
create an authentic story?
With one minor adjustment, I would say there's really no right way or wrong way to use AI. It's just how intuitive can you be to use AI, and realizing that this is the most intelligent dumb person that you've ever encountered, because it is AI. That's how I view AI. It's a personal assistant that knows everything in the universe, but it doesn't know how to articulate it until you tell it that this is how. And so that brings up a whole nother debate on Hollywood writing, and we're talking about storytelling. Can it replace a human writer? I'm not sure. I don't think so. Because even the person prompting it, and then you would still have to take that output. And we've done this with scripts. We have to take that output. It's a 35-page document that we have to go through and read and make manual edits.
So the real question is, can it now, or will it then And I think it eventually will get
It's
there with the
getting-
right
It's
prompting.
getting so good.
But I think the right prompting, that's
Well, that's
why
all it
the
is.
focus of this episode really is how to help empower financial advisors, life agents, and other financial professionals. You've got, if you want to remain relevant until your retirement, you have to master the art of creating AI prompts to maintain the authenticity of your origin story, of your why story, your big idea.
Yes. And because this is so new, that's why it's so exciting. This is so cutting edge. The people that pick this up and start using it and really diving into its capabilities have a first mover advantage.
Yeah. I think the biggest mistake that I've observed on all of our financial advisors is that they put in a generic prompt, they get a generic answer, and they don't continue the conversation. And so we get generic content, generic social media content, generic
Yeah,
AI
because it's so
documentaries.
impressive. I mean, it's when you get the first answer, you're just like so blown away. You're like, wow, that's even better than I thought it was going to be. But then you slowly start to realize, well, it's sounds a little generic.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where what we're talking about today is injecting your story into so you get a better output.
Well,
and so the question is how do you tell that story?
I
Or
agree.
how do you give the whatever AI tool you're using to create this marketing material? And the thing that people are leaving out is the story. It's the why. Why are you doing this? And who, and we keep harping on this, but who do you serve? How do you serve them? And why do you do it? And I think that's the missing element from all marketing materials, even before AI, but now especially with AI, because it's so easy to turn out a website and a document that's just kind of fluff.
So
It's AI slop.
So yeah. So as we wrap up, I would agree. Who you serve and how you serve them is still, the competition is 500,000 professionals are offering the same thing to the same markets.
And no AI is going to know that.
And no AI is going to know
unless
that.
you tell it and unless you inject that part of the story into your marketing message.
So you said your market, who you serve, how you serve them, and then you said
why.
Okay, so today's episode really needs to be about the why.
Yeah.
Like, why is it that this financial professional is going to care more about this particular solution for this particular audience than any other person they've ever heard from? That goes back to storytelling and vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you've done...
And really, really, really understanding who you serve, your core audience, the special thing that you've created for just this particular group of people.
They have to feel...
That's the why.
Yeah, and they have to feel like you are inspired to become their advocate. And I go, okay, so I'm going to go back to the beginning of our conversation with Pratt in Los Angeles running for mayoral position. If you've lost a house in LA, which is a lot of people,
a lot of influential people.
Yes, very influential people. People relate to his story because he also lost his house, his parents' house, his sister's house, 3 houses within the same family, in the same fire.
And even people that didn't lose a house, they lived through it. The whole city was on fire.
So who do you... Now, again, forgive me if you have different political views. I'm just using it as an example. He has a dramatic rise nationally, and it's just a mayoral campaign for a city.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he getting so much national news? And I think it's because so many people can say, oh, he understands my plight. The other mayor was in another country when it happened. He was there with a hose trying to like save his family's house.
This is a perfect example of what we talked about a few weeks ago, which is improvement offers versus new opportunities. So in marketing, you always want to be selling a new opportunity. This vehicle didn't work, and I have a new vehicle, a new opportunity, a new product or service that will fix the exact thing that you're suffering from. We're not trying to improve the old thing. I have something completely new. So what are his two opponents' messages? It's just more of the same. It's an improvement of, we're going to clean up the homeless crisis.
We're going to try even harder.
Well, you've been in office for 4 years. Why didn't you do it in 4 years?
Right.
You want another opportunity to try and do the same job. It's just an improvement versus a new guy coming in and saying, I'm just going to tear everything down, rip up all the regulations, make it illegal to sleep on the streets. People are paying attention. They're like, wow, that's different. That's new. No one's ever said that before.
Well,
and they all agree with it. They're like, why are we letting this happen?
Well, in all fairness,
and when someone says the quiet part out loud, then people start paying attention.
And in all fairness, not everybody will agree, but the fact that it's so vulnerable and so common sense, how can you argue against somebody who just had their house burned down?
Yeah.
When he says, I'm tired of the homeless on the street because my business got shut down. I'm tired of the regulations in LA because my house got burned down. How do you argue with that person? That is vulnerable authenticity.
Yeah. Well, and we understand back to the why. That's his why.
That's his why. It's exactly right.
And he even said in a recent interview, he says, I didn't want to run for mayor. This wasn't a goal of mine. I just got sick of all the crap.
Yeah.
And if I don't win the mayor, I'm leaving California. That's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
And that, again, back to the why, the vulnerability, that takes a lot of vulnerability to say,
it does.
I'm only running for mayor because I'm sick of the way, and I have a new idea and a new opportunity. And if I don't win, I'm out of here.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. The final conclusion that I want to get your advice on is most financial professionals are concerned that if they're not politically correct and which is the opposite of vulnerability, right? If I'm not politically correct and express my true feelings and my true ability,
I don't want to offend anyone.
I don't want to offend anybody, which takes away from your why story. How is that impacting the financial industry?
I think in a big way, and it's all small businesses suffer from the same problem. They are so desperate for a client. Either they're desperate for a client because they just need a new client, that they're willing to do anything to get this client, even though it's obvious to them that this isn't a client that they should be working with. So, or they, like you said, they just don't want to offend anyone. I'm open for business for everyone. And we always say, narrow your focus, narrow your audience, and pick a lane. Don't try and serve everybody. What's the old saying? If you try and serve everybody, you end up serving nobody. So pick a lane and talk to just those people. And not only do you want to talk to just your audience, you do want to offend and push away the people that you don't want to work with.
I was just going to ask you.
Because those are nightmare clients that you don't want anyway. Because they're not going to align with you, your values, your story. You want people to resonate with your story because you're trying to attract a certain group of people, but you're also trying to repel everyone else.
Okay, so that I just want to wrap up on that.
I know we could go for 2 hours.
No. I want to wrap up on that exact point, because you've taught me that if you're not repelling as many people as you're attracting, or marketing isn't good enough.
Yes.
And that was an epiphany for me, because as a marketer, but in the financial industry, we're always like, I don't want to push anybody away. Anybody who's 55 or older who has money in the bank is my target audience. And
no, they're not.
why? Because they have Like we were in the Tustin Financial building. We had like 87 competitors in the same freaking
Yeah.
building.
Yeah.
Like, so how are you going to make them decide that you're
Yeah, how
the
are you
one
gonna
of the
stand out?
97 in a building? And that goes back to the vulnerability and being willing to take a stand about your why story and claim it, own it. Don't be embarrassed about it. Wear it like a badge. And if it doesn't push away half of the leads, and then it's not going to attract the other half, the
Yeah.
leads that want to do business with you.
Yeah, I think of Larry. He primarily works with federal employees.
Yes.
And if you're not a federal employee, don't call me. I mean,
yeah,
that's pretty much how, simple it needs to be.
yeah, I totally agree. Hey, well, I tell you, I cannot tell you how grateful we are from your perspective, from Hollywood, from marketing, from Russell Brunson's experiences on how you can help us really dial in for financial professionals, how they can become more effective digitally online and make sure that they are their brand and they tell their story. And you've helped us be able to make that very articulate, easy to understand, and easy to applicate if they're willing to do the work necessary.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
outstanding. Thank you guys for joining us for the After Dark. Join us for the live show Thursday mornings at, I believe, 9 a.m. Pacific time.
Mhm.
And we'll give you all of the resources of the how-to of what we discussed today in the After Dark. You're going to get the how to apply everything we discussed in the Sandbox Live Thursday mornings at 9 a.m. Join us. We look forward to seeing you there. Thanks for joining us.